I'm going to keep this on the play. I can go Thoughtseize in the Kroxa, hopefully find a black source. Playing against Tron. Well, the black source at the top would be good because it's very good to Voidwalker. Would also stop the Chromatic Star. Let me take the Stirrings here. Maybe taking the Relic's better because of Kroxa, but stopping them from Stirrings into third Tron piece is pretty good. If I draw a black source, I also get to stop the Star from drawing a card, which would be great. Did not. I'll just go ahead and cast the Kroxa, I guess. Yeah, this looks a lot better. I think I would probably play the 4th Murktide over the 2nd Deluge, but this looks a lot cleaner. Yeah, and if you want to main deck all these moon effects for your store, that's fine. I just kind of like generally, that's something I think like not a lot of players think about is we're talking practice, you know. We're talking practice. All right, let's Thoughtseize. I think your hand is Sanctum, Thragtusk, Mystery card. Like, I could try to save the Thoughtseize for Voidwalker. I think I just need to Thoughtseize them, though. Didn't draw the black source, unfortunately. Oh, they discarded the Thragtusk. Well, I guess they've got another one now, huh? I'm going to take the Thragtusk for 2 reasons. 1, we can't really beat the Ulamog anyways. And 2, leaving Ulamog in my hand maybe gives me outs to Voidwalker it. If I was playing a Terminate, I would 100% swap some Blood Moon effects. Maybe only have 2 main board for FNM to keep you off. Yeah, that's fine. Like, I think that, like, the reasonings people have for metagaming at the LGS is fine. I just, like, I feel like I never really hear, like, the practice discord, or, like, the practice arguments for not metagaming super heavy at your LGS. So I usually like to, like, just go over it and make sure people understand, like, metagaming is not all upside. There's, like, at your FNM level. Curious why we're leaning towards more Thoughtseize over IOK. Thoughtseize is better than Inquisition in Modern. I know not everybody agrees with that statement, but there's kind of like no end to relevant cards that Thoughtseize hits, like super relevant cards that Thoughtseize hits that Inquisition misses. And there's not that much burn in Modern either. Like burn and Prowess are not popular decks in Modern anymore. They haven't been popular for a long time. So like the life loss is very much not, in my opinion and experience, not as relevant as being able to hit Omnath, Primeval Titan, Solitude, Fury, Murktide Regent are like a very small list of the big ones. Okay, seeing this hand, I'm gonna need to leave Terminate up for the Wormcoil Engine. Like there's more, but like there's so many super relevant cards that Thoughtseize hits and Inquisition misses. And, like, I don't see that changing anytime soon. And I think that, for the most part, you just want to be on 4 Thoughtseize before the 4th Inquisition. What do you think about Fury in the list? I think you could play Fury. I think that I usually just like to play Fury if I feel like I've got a good read on the meta, which I don't think I have at the moment. But it's definitely, like, a good option to consider. If you don't kill Gigant, I'm dead. That's not true. I'm at 13. I can take 2 hits. Yeah, my Inquisition, like, look at my Inquisition right now, you know, like, yeah, like, I'm bricking really hard on it. Which is, like, a pretty common thing. I think this is lethal, right? Why do they play Ulamog? They don't have Tron, they just tap 6 mana from Wormcoil. Tron costs 10. Red Black X, the new Green Black X, still this meta? Yeah, red cards just better than the green cards for the most part. Yeah, burn is maybe more popular in paper, but on Magic Online burn is like not that popular. It's seeing even a slight tick up right now, but it's still just like not a deck you need to be too concerned about. And burn is also like actually a good matchup for this deck too, or at least it was before Luris. I guess it got worse after the Luris ban. But it was a good matchup before. It's probably not terrible now. How do you think Green Black Urza Rock should be built now? It should be playing red and should be playing red and 6. It's a return Urza Saga. You could maybe call it like Jund Saga. Yeah, I think that Jund Saga is a lot better than Green Black. There's not like a good reason to play Green Black other than you like the color combination, in my opinion. Doogie with the VRPer mod. Congratulations. Big clap for Doogie in the chat for the redemption. Modest with the big raid. Thank you, buddy. Welcome back. Doogie, would you like to be a VIP or a mod? Let me know. VIP, please. Hell yeah. Okay, this is a turn 3 Karn, but on our side. What does VIP do? You get you get a nice little diamond next to your name, like you can see Doogie has now. You get very few actual privileges. I think it might just be you can still type during emote only mode. I think that is maybe the only mechanical benefit. Is being able to type during emote only mode. Alright, so hopefully they don't have Tron here. Okay, they don't have it. We're good. Oh yeah, you also are not restricted to the spam rules too. That's true. But you don't have mod view. You miss a lot of stuff. But it's also true. Like I'm a mod on a lot of channels. I don't know that I've done almost any actual moderating. And Fran said the Tron matchup wasn't fun with this deck. Fran said the Tron matchup wasn't fun. It's also true, back to like the Inquisition Thoughtseize discussion more. Like, it is more of a conversation. I still do think that you want to be on for Thoughtseize before the first Inquisition and Jund. But if you're playing Jund, it is definitely true that your mana is more painful than Red-Black. And the cost of playing Thoughtseize over Inquisition is higher. But it is also true that there are so many important cards that Inquisition misses and Thoughtseize hits. Yeah, I think it's fine to play the Urborg, so I can still play Din if I draw another Voidwalker. I also have the push up this way. VIP status lasts until I take it away from you. Which is usually pretty quick. Most of my VIPs lose their privileges in like a week or two. I'm just kidding. I've never un-VIP'd anybody. I have had to unmod like 1 or 2 people though. Should I play Vantress over Hall of the Storm Giants? I think I probably like Hall more, but it's kind of up to you. Your call. Grist is pretty good here. A little late on the Inquisition. I'll just discard 2 lands here and draw 2 more lands. Jund Saga's dead? No, I don't think so. I think so. Red Black X is now like a super exciting archetype to explore. Obviously, that's what we're doing now. And there's really like we're going to be going to the next game here in a second. There's really like no shortage of ways to build the archetype either, right? You can build Jund, like traditional classic Jund with Lilianas and Seasoned Pyromancers and Bloodbraids if you want them. Or you can play Jund Saga still. Jund Saga is still an option, especially with like Elvish Reclaimer. And, having, if you're playing Bauble Channeler, like Baubles are Saga targets still, which is kind of interesting. It makes your Tarmogoyfs huge, which is pretty cool too. There's Grixis Shadow, Bardur's Shadow, Blue Black Shadow. I guess that's not Red Black X, but just Red Black X in general is very interesting right now. There's a lot of ins and outs to the case. There's no like super clear way to build the deck either. Zemo, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you. And it's a fun time. It's a fun time to be playing the deck. Yeah. There's also like no super correct way to build these decks either, which is part of the fun. Is that like we could really try a lot of things. Yeah, Grixis is also pretty interesting. Yeah, I think we'll be playing more Jund Sack this week as well. I've got a lot on my to-do list this week, which is great. I really hate waking up on a Monday and I have like nothing on my to-do list. I have to like find stuff. But like this week, I'm like really interested in diving deep into prowess. We revisited the Ninja Reanimator deck this morning. I want to work more on this list. I want to be working on Grixis control variants is like a pretty high priority for me too. I want to keep working on the Anvil lists. I've got a lot on my to-do list for this week. I want to play Jun Sack again. There's a pretty good chance we don't get through it all this week. A red source lets me Shinka. No red source, unfortunately. I think I have to cast the stupid Ragavan since my hand is so land light and threat heavy, but casting it's so bad against Rin and 6. Okay, black source. It's a black source. Am I confident about the choice to drop DRC? Yeah, like there's no like no one else has like offered a suggestion on how to add Liliana and Seasoned Pyromancer, in my opinion, which is absolutely mandatory now for red black, or at least in this more unknown metagame. Like I think Liliana Seasoned Pyromancer makes too much sense to not be on, and nobody's like said like here's how we fit these cards in without cutting DRC Bobble. I guess just play DRC Bobble instead of Liliana Seasoned Pyromancer, but I think this is a lot better at the moment. Do you think Jun Sack has got new tools? Maybe. I'm kind of trying to figure out if Ravenous Squirrel is playable in the deck. I don't think it is in that version. I think you probably need Cat Oven for Squirrel to be good. It's a pretty good draw. But I'm working on it. So we're doing pretty good if my opponent's light on gas here. They exile the Kroxa, which is good for me. They can kill my Voidwalker. I can't kill their Ren. Okay, they can kill my Voidwalker. But I get to escape Kroxa, and maybe I'm ahead. They don't fetch, they do me 1 less damage. Yeah, that seems like a missed point there. Unless they're holding up like push or something. Yeah, I think I have to escape the Kroxa. I would really like to terminate the Goyf, but the problem is like if I wait on escaping the Kroxa, then my opponent is going to be able to edict my Kroxa, which I think is something I'd like to avoid. Nice. Get that out of the hand too. Would you like to see an artifact reanimation list? I mean, I've worked on it. I've worked on Orzhov and Dimir Affinity Reanimator. I think the issue I found with that archetype, whatever, is affinity decks do not mulligan very well. Affinity decks mulligan really poorly. And Reanimator decks mulligan very aggressively. And so you're mulliganing so often with the Affinity Reanimator list that I think that it's actually just not correct to build the deck that way. This is mono red. Oh, an artifact reanimation list. I'm okay. I'm okay. And you know when Spike is going to stream that Red Black Minotaur's Brew everyone is talking about. Any day now, probably. Any day now, I imagine. I played some mono red Minotaurs. I once 5-0'd with like a wacky Pioneer Brew that was it was Minotaurs, and so if you cast Deathbell or Warcry, you won, and you could like Ironcrag feed into it. But then you also had a combo of Boros Reckoner plus Star of Extinction, and Boros Reckoner, it just tied the room together so well. It was a Minotaur. it just tied everything together so well. I think I would name Rin 6. This way, my opponent, if they're gonna keep plussing the Liliana, they can't like just discard the land for free. And then like this stops the Ren from ultimating in a couple turns. I'm not sure if this is correct though. You draw like a Seasoned Pyromancer too. Wouldn't Stimulant and Shadow be perfect together in a blue-black X cantrip discard and removal shell? It is certainly my opinion that in order for Dimulich to be playable, you need to have Manamorphose in your deck. There's no way I will ever, I think, see a Dimulich deck that does not have Manamorphose and be like, this is a correctly built deck. That being said, it's not like you can't play Shadow and Dimulich together. It is possible. It is possible you could build a deck that way. We're dead. But I would have to see a list first, I guess. Like, and you're also like having a random 2/2 is like which that Charlotte's Agent gives you is a lot less powerful in Modern than it is in Legacy. Where in Legacy, all resources trade so hard that a random 2/2 is actually worth a lot. In Modern, a random 2/2 is worth a lot less, I think. Not that like there's like I'm not saying that there's never going to be a good way to build Charlotte's Bog, but I don't think that there is a good way to build it right now, and I can't really see that changing in the foreseeable future. Flooded Strand, Sacred Foundry, Esper Sentinel. Okay, we love to draw a Ragavan here so that we can actually play something into the turn 1 Sentinel. Is Voidwalker bad in Shadow? I think it's at least good in the sideboard. I wouldn't say that it's... I would certainly say it's not bad across the board either. But it misses their land drop. Be very interesting if they block or not here. They do block. Great for me. And I will just bolt the Sentinel, try to keep them off mana because they missed their land. Do I have a favorite Snapcaster deck right now? I think like Wafo's blue-white Snapcaster list is really good. I've just been thinking more and more about it, and I really, really like Martial Otherworldly Light plus Snapcaster Mage. I think that's probably the best one. I've been kind of like looking at some Grixis Snapcaster shells. I think that like Yindrik and Yamakiller and I'm trying to think a few other players besides those two. We're definitely like working pretty hard on like the more controlling version of Grixis Lurrus, like not Shadow. And now that Lurrus is banned, I'm not sure if there's like still design space there, but I think that there's some. Okay, I can take the Stoneforge Mystic here. Even if they draw a land and they go land, Paladin Hammer, equip, I just get to push the Super Paladin. How about Band Control with Snappy? Well, that's the thing about Band Control is like all the cards that you are incentivized to play when you play Bant, which is like Ice Fang, Abundant Growth, Endurance. None of these cards work well with Snapcaster Mage. There's not like maybe Veil of Summer, but yeah, for the most part, like there's just not a reason to be Bant besides I like Bant, you know. Bant is my favorite control deck. I'll hold up Terminate here. Maybe not. Maybe I can wait here. I don't think I actually need to play anything. I found your Death Bell Parno MTGO Fish. Yeah, if you could post a link, I'd love to reminisce for a second. Thank you for doing that. Guess it's Seasoned Pyromancer now, I guess. Yeah, it's just like, there's just like, what's Snap Synergy with Otherworldly? I mean, you're probably overthinking it, but and Snapcaster Mage is really wants instant speed removal. Like what's great about Snapcaster is the options you get and the ability to like wait to take your play, and it's fine with Prismatic Ending. You know, it's definitely not like an anti-synergy with Prismatic Ending, but it is also certainly true that that like just being able like more instant speed removal makes Snapcaster better in blue-white shells. And more removal in general, because like a lot of your removal was like Supreme Verdict and Solitude, which weren't great with Snapcaster because they're just so expensive or you can't flash them back. Okay, great to win game 1. Any tips on a strategy to buy all the fetch lands? I think you just like put them in your cart and click buy all. I don't know, man. I don't know how to answer that question. I know when I was like scouring for like legacy staples, like I would go on eBay eBay was like my haven to like buy cheap dual lands and Kroxas. I don't know if that's still something you can do, or if it's probably not a great thing to be doing for modern staples, to be honest. I think Liliana's not great in this matchup, but an extra out to the Sanctifier is probably correct to have. Can we play the 4th Tourach? Yeah, Pro White's pretty nice. Add up to you for 7 months, appreciate you. Yeah, it used to be like a pretty good place to buy like I remember I bought like before the reprints like a beat up Italian mana drain for like $45, but that was when like a near mint English mana drain was like 200 or 250 or something like that. And I bought like a pretty cheap mana crypt too. Like that was always where I was like scouring for deals, but I imagine it's not that good for deals anymore. I actually bought like a pretty nice English Caracas that had like a really nice face, but the back was like a little beat up, and so I got a pretty good deal on that. I didn't care about the back that much. I got like a pretty good deal on a Volcanic Island once. But like I remember I was scouring for deals because I was, you know, not making very much money, but I really wanted to build Miracles and Legacy, and I saved up for like 6 months. Finally got Miracles top Miracles together. Played 1 GP with it. I went 12-3. Went 12-3, and then they banned the deck like a couple months later. But I got to live the glory days for one awesome tournament. Okay, let's keep this. I think I'm putting back Inquisition. Lots of scammers on eBay. Actually, okay, this is not advice, okay? But I had a friend who would scour eBay for dual lands that he knew to be fake, or he like knew is not exactly true, but that he highly suspected to be fake. And what he would do was he would buy them, and if they were real, he got a great deal, which happened like 1 or 2 times out of like the 50 times he did this. They were real. It was very rare. But if they were real, he just got a great deal. And if they were not real, he got a full refund from eBay. And usually in this case, you would be required to return the cards, right? But it is actually against the law to ship counterfeit cards, or that's what he said. You know, I'm not a lawyer, but he had told me that it's against the law to ship counterfeit cards. So what he would do is just say, eBay, I can legally not return this to the seller, and then he would just get the full refund, and then he would maybe use them as like a proxy, like an EDH deck or something. But he mostly did it to like waste scammers' times. Was like the real like payoff there, was like wasting the scammers' time, which was very much worth it, I think. Shinka, great draw here. Yeah, shipping counterfeit goods, even free, is fraud. Exactly. And I think that by default, like the scammers, they try to get the cards back so they can sell them again. And so like you get the good EV of like if the card is real, obviously you get a great deal, and if the card is I have an urge to rhyme again. If the card is real, you get a great deal, and if the card is fake, then you get to waste scammers' time, which is also great. So a little hack, huh? I mean, I'll Shinka again. Alright, Shinka's kill count is 2. So they're going to animate Inkmoth Nexus. I did a blacksmith skill, I guess, but they animate Inkmoth Nexus, put the hammer on it, gets a fatal push. They're bored out any rags? No. Ragavan is, like, in my opinion, much better against Hammer Time than most people think it is. Especially in a deck like this, especially. Not to say that you can never trim any copies in any list or in any matchup. Sometimes you'll want to trim them. But like the best thing that they can do against you is play an Esper Sentinel on turn 1. And when they play Esper Sentinel in this deck, the best thing you can do is play Ragavan. And like having like an impactful play on turn 1 that maybe you can actually trade for Esper Sentinel for 1 mana it's a really big deal. It's a really big deal that you can do this. Delver of Grixis, think of the 9 months. Do you think now Counterspell is in modern legal? It's time to unban Mana Drain and Legacy. I don't know. Maybe. Mana Drain's pretty good, but it doesn't see like any play in Vintage. And it's also like a pretty inconsistent card. It's kind of like a fun thought experiment, huh? Mana Drain and Legacy. It's probably not a very good card for the health of the format. But I don't know. I know that the question is probably a joke, but I don't actually think that the answer is like for sure no. I think that, you know, it might be okay. Like I think it's like, I don't know. That's probably like, it's probably bad. It's probably bad. Okay. What are we doing here? I think I'm just supposed to HCA and then let them draw a card. But boy, would it be fun. I think that's the main reason I'm trying to justify it. Casting Mana Drain would be so fun. Not pushing the Rag. If I push the Ragavan, they get to draw a card, and like, I'm not like that scared of the Ragavan hitting me necessarily. Pip-Pound is down when you deck. You could do 2 gifted subs if that's your heart's desire. I don't think I've ever seen PayPal be down before. It's kind of weird, though. I'd love to see KLB's reaction to Mana Drain unban. I would too, yeah. Yeah, getting to hang out with Caleb was really fun at the Energy. Yeah, I've never seen PayPal down before. Dark day for Twitch, huh? Am I supposed to not cast Kozilek's Return here? Allegra, stick with the 4 months. Appreciate ya. I almost think I kind of feel like I'm not supposed to cast it. Oh, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like I might lose the Sanctifier in Vec. And like that's a way to lose a game that I'm pretty ahead in. But I think I should cast it. Yeah, the idea is like save this for a Sanctifier in Vec, which is like why they're in the deck in the first place. I think we could maybe beat a Sanctifier. Could be some Copium, I guess. All right, I'll let them have the chip for a little bit. I think I'll pass back. I was thinking we could maybe it was good to din of the Bugbear and hold up a push. We get like the first token, but then we don't have double push up. Best Zoo shell after the format changes. I don't know, man. The format's not going to change enough that a deck like Zoo is all of a sudden going to be a great deck in Modern, in my opinion. You know, this is kind of like the dark truth, the unfortunate reality. That every Modern player goes through every single time there's an unban or a ban, is that every time there's any change, people just want their pet deck to be good again. They just want it to be good again. But the lures change it's just not gonna be a big enough change that like all of a sudden like there's like a specific Zoo variant that rises from the ashes. Well, there's the Sanctifier. Oh, here it comes. Watch out, Spike. Got pro, black and red. Alright, grabbing a Shadow Spear. I'm going to push the Stoneforge Mystic. Unstable Pinecone with the 5-pack, which I assume is for the deck. Can do that in a second. Post a link in the chat. Yeah, I've seen some Domain Zoo lists pop up from time to time. I don't love the deck, to be honest. I played a bunch of it like at the beginning of MH2, and it's just like, I don't know, a little underpowered, I feel. Definitely a cool deck, definitely a fun deck. Actually, fear the Ragavan here. Yeah, that was for a deck tech, right, Pinecone? Or were those just gifted subs? I misinterpreted. guess I'll shock you. Let's hand is Shadow Spear, 2 mystery cards, right? Doesn't HCA beat Invec in the long run? Well, there is no long run if they Shadow Spear Colossus Hammer this. Long run? There is no long run. I think I'm Ragavan, Fear Ragavan, Sin with the team. Or is it actually, it's probably just better if they did have the Bugbear, right? Alpha Strike. Then they block the Din to soak up the most damage, or HCA, they go up to 11, but then they take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 exactly. Alright, so if they have a removal spell, they're alive. Or if I miscounted, they're alive. I got the deck tech. Boomer John. Okay, I've been working on this a little bit. You can find my most recent draft in the Stream Decker, but let's take a look. I would play the 4th Ragavan. I think Ragavan's really good. I think I like the Unearths being when you're playing 4 Seasoned Pyromancer, 4 Grist. I think that's fine. I've actually built a version of the deck that's like really in on Unearth that plays like DRC Bobble, 4 Grist, 4 Seasoned Pyromancer, but I think it's fine to just play 2. I like the main deck Unearths here. Can play the first Din of the Bugbear. I don't like the Takenuma though. I think the Takenuma is stretches your mana too much here and doesn't offer enough upside. Playing against Gigantha, probably playing against Tron. So I'll put back the Kroxa, I guess. I prefer to Inquisition on turn 1, but okay, not Tron. Maybe this is Anvil. I don't think I've played against the Anvil deck yet. Gonna get by some Ragavans here. Yeah, I think with HCA, Endurance, and Ashiok, you don't need these Surgicals. I think these Surgicals are not good. I would also like play something more efficient for big mana decks than Assassin's Trophy in the sideboard. So a card like Obsidian Charmaw or probably Fulminator Mage to go with your Unearths. But just like Assassin's Trophy is like not a very good main deck card, and there are more efficient cards in the sideboard to play too, I think. It's also true that Boomerjund, if you're playing Grist and or Liliana, which you're playing Grist and not Liliana, it tends to be a bit better against Murktide Regents, so you don't need like the necessarily more answers to that. For sure, having more answers is not bad, of course. Cool, so this is a Jund list with Brandon 6. Someone was telling me about this version earlier. Can get to see it in action here, I guess. And we've got a pretty slow hand on the draw, awkward mulligan. Joe with the Twitch Prime, appreciate you. What are my thoughts on Infect? I think it's probably still not very good, but and like Hammer Time, absolutely. Okay, probably just taking an L here. Hammer Time, I think like occupies a lot of the same archetype space, a lot of the same like format space, and kind of does what the Infect deck tries to do, but a little bit better. Is Grist really better than Liliana Boomerjund? I don't think so. Something I kind of didn't go over super hard. I think that Liliana is a little bit better, but like, oh, that's kind of sick. Oven set Kroxa for 2 foods. I don't think so. I think that Liliana is better, but I think it's like fine to try Grist out instead, which is why I didn't really go over it. It's like, dude, HCA's got to be nuts in this matchup. It's just kind of it's kind of like a personal preference thing, and it's like certainly like up in the air still. So I don't want to speak on it with a lot of authority when I'm just like not really sure what the best route is to go. You know what I mean? Is Ashiok any good? Probably not. Right? Stops the Urza Saga trigger. Doesn't stop too much else. I guess I'll play like 5 discard spells, 2 Lilianas. I don't think I went. If SCG Fort Worth was tomorrow, what would I be the most tempted to play in the main event? The most tempted to play? I'd be the most tempted to play Phoenix. I don't think that's what I would play though. I don't know what I would play. Maybe Band Control. Cadristic of this 14 months. Appreciate you. Is this the Hidetsugu deck? We have Hidetsugu in the side. This is not the version that's main decking it. Training Grounds with the 7 months. Appreciate you. Thoughts on 5-color Assault Loam? I don't know what that deck is. Oh, this is just a meme pet deck. Get boosted band. Good meme. Good meme. How was Rhino's position? I think Rhinos is great. I also think that like people are still like not playing a ton of Rhinos for like you know, like it's so weird. I feel like I don't say this about any deck besides Rhinos, but as someone who's played a lot of it, was playing a lot of it like early into the Modern Horizons 2, and I know I talked to a lot of people who have played it. Like the gameplay in Rhinos is super repetitive. It's like it's like surprisingly more repetitive than any other deck. And yeah, I think we take the Ragavan here, and then we can make them play Squirrel and Oven maybe into HCA. It's just surprisingly more repetitive than any other deck I've ever played. It's just I think that people like legitimately have gotten kind of bored of it, or at least like I think that people's boredom around the archetype is somewhat responsible for you not seeing it in Modern very much anymore. I don't think that like it's obviously not 100% of the reason why you don't see it much, but it is certainly part of it, and it's rare for me to say that, I think, too. Love that. Yeah, so the dude, the HEA just actually destroys their draw. They can't even cast the Kroxa next turn without having it get exiled. Thoughts of Veil of Summer and Amulet Titan sideboard. I think Veil of Summer has always been like a really reasonable sideboard card to play, and I don't know. Like I know that Fran like so like Fran decided that Veil of Summer was bad because when Aether Gust was legal, which I think was a fine evaluation. I don't know why Titan like almost never. I think that Titan players still have it in their brain that Veil of Summer is not that good in Titan because like it wasn't good against Aether Gust, and they're just like, that's not what we want. I think that like that's still their mindset, and nobody can we just not tell them, please? I would kind of prefer for them to continue to have this opinion, to be honest. The less Veil of Summers in my life, the better, I feel. I might Sokenzan here. Oh, I could have cast Ragavan first and discounted it. This may be better. Veil isn't worth the slot in sideboard because Cavern is better. Well, I don't know. It's like there are still like a lot of discard spells, and like I hear a lot of Titan players complaining about the Thoughtseize decks. I don't know. Like I'm not saying that it's definitely correct, but the card is very powerful. Like you are somewhat weak to counter spells and somewhat weak to discard spells, and you know, I don't love Veil of Summer in a lot of green decks that are more fair decks, because like a big problem that most fair decks have in fair matchups is being cold to the card Omnath, being cold to Renin 6, being cold to Teferi, and Veil of Summer doesn't really help those cards very much, or help you beat those cards very much, which is why I usually don't recommend Veil in the sideboard of most fair decks. But I do think that dynamic is kind of the opposite in the unfair decks. I think the linear combo decks like Titan are the kinds of decks that I would usually like to see taking a closer look at Veil of Summer. Not saying that you have to play it or that it's mandatory, but I do agree with the initial evaluation that Veil of Summer is like kind of overlooked in Titan, in my opinion. I agree with that assessment. Unless they posted the surgicals were Abundance of Yogg, how can I tune the board for Omnath because I feel like the worst matchup? That is your worst matchup. There's not like one amazing card you can play against Omnath as Jund. You like your the best cards you can play are Tourach and Boyle, I think, are the two best cards for you. Neither card wins the game by itself though, and neither card is like the answer you're really looking for. But yeah, I think Tourach and Boyle are the two best cards you can play for Jund against 4-color Omnath. think Boomer Jen has potential? Yeah, for sure. I actually think the deck was like, you know, this is something I've been talking a lot lately. It's just like you like before the Luris ban, you would see like a lot of like deck specialists like performing well, trophying with like random decks like, you know, Bant Spirits and stuff. And I think that you're gonna see more of that now that people are playing their pet decks a lot, just kind of realizing that even if it's not the best choice for a tournament or whatever, you can just still play your pet deck and do well with it. And Boomer John, I think, is one of those decks that is reasonable. Cantor, thank you for the raid. Hope you're having a good day. GG's earlier. He crushed me. I love to see the faithless looters in the chat. The best emote on Twitch. Hands down, it's not even really close. Pretty good draw. Germany doesn't do daylight savings time, right? Or sorry, Canister's not. I think we've had this conversation in the past where I thought Canister is, you know, in Germany. He's not in Germany, right? Where is he? I'm trying to remember. Poland, that's right. Yeah, we've had this exact conversation where I thought he was in Germany. He's from Poland. Yeah, just next door. I watch a lot of Dino Segaio, who is confirmed from Germany. So thankfully they don't have to compete to be the best German streamer. I'm gonna draw. I'll go down to 1 Liliana. How does WotC print powerful zoo cards like Ragavan without just making other archetypes more powerful? So this is something, this is not exactly the answer to your question. The answer to your question, if they went to buff Zoo, they would print a creature that is just a good beatdown creature, efficiently costed beatdown creature, rather than a card that can generate card advantage and mana advantage. That would be the difference between Ragavan and a good Zoo creature. But it's also true, here's a lesson that like modern players oftentimes have to learn the hard way. And it's definitely an important lesson to learn, is that while a lot of times a new card like Ragavan and Zoo will be printed and it'll make your deck better, but it's also the case that like Zoo is a pretty underpowered archetype. It's got a lot of weaknesses. It's got a lot of problems, not being fast enough to race a deck like Titan or Living End a lot of the time. It's got the problem of, let's keep this in. It's got the problem of being like very slow to sweepers, out of control. And a card like Ragavan doesn't change that, you know. Ragavan doesn't fix the problems that a deck like Zoo has. It just kind of like gives you another good card. And the best place to play good cards are in good, powerful decks, you know, that don't have those like archetypal flaws that Zoo has. And so like learning the lesson of like, even though this card is good in my pet deck, but it's probably better somewhere else is a hard lesson to learn. I kind of like trading Ragavan for Squirrel here because I have 2 Ragavans. I assume that they're going to trade. If they don't trade, I can, you know, I got the push up, which is nice too. Also uses my mana more efficiently so I can play the Din untapped, and then I get to Urborg and turn my Dins into Badlands. I did go to the Hunter Burton, yeah. I went 4-3 drop. I played the Mardu Shadow list, and I had a good time, despite not performing super well. I think I need to terminate the Mayhem Devil this turn. I can't really afford to play Ragavan into a Mayhem Devil. What is it about Urza Saga that just summons Alpine Moon? Oh, this makes you sacrifice it? Okay, lesson learned. Okay, lesson learned. I guess I should have done that. But yeah, hard to play the Ragavan into the Mayhem Devil. Alright. Kill this in response. Would a 1-mana vanilla 4/3 with no downside be good enough for Modern? Yeah, it would be. A 1-mana 3/3 with no downside would also be playable in Modern. Wild Neck Cattle is not a 1-mana 3/3 with no downside. It requiring you to play requiring you to play red and green and have those lands in play is a downside. I think that a green card that's just a 1-mana 3/3, no other text, I do think that that card would be playable. I don't know that it would be format defining. 4/3 would probably be like a little too good, to be honest. What cards are your sideboard aside from Surgical dislike? I think Surgical is the only one I like disliked. So am I going to return Ragavan or make them discard a card? I think that I'm going to make them discard a card since they've got the 1/1 to trade with the Ragavan. One CMC 4/2 green, maybe 4/1. Why isn't Arcanist good in the shell? Arcanist isn't good at all. I don't know. Like, look, let's take a. We don't have enough 1-drop. We don't have enough 1-mana spells for Arcanist. We have wait, why isn't this? Where's the list? Oh, it's sorry, it's down. Like, we have in this deck 13 1-mana spells for Arcanist, which is like 7 too few or like 4 too few. It's, I'm not sure exactly what the right number is, I guess, but it's not enough. It's not enough. You need more. They can trade Squirrel for Din if I attack. I should probably wait here. Holding the Alpine Moon, of course, for Seasoned Pyromancer. And it's also true, Dreadhorde Arcanist is way worse in a deck that's playing discard spells rather than cantrips. Cantrips are a much better way to maximize the power of Dreadhorde Arcanist. I'm going to play my 2/1. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to pass. They didn't attack to the Din last turn, which is kind of nice. And I think if I fire up my Din, they just block the 1/1, take 3 because they're at 21, and they crack back. And I don't think that's a good exchange for me. Froky, thank you for the tier 1. Appreciate you. Could ending be considered for Arcanist? You can consider it. Yeah, I don't think that it's like... You only get to exile 1-drops with it, so I don't feel like it's like a huge addition, but it's not anti-synergy. Like, there's some synergy there. But again, you also, like, you really have to be playing, I guess we're casting the Tourach now. You really have to be playing, cantrips for Arcanist to reach its full potential. And it's also absolutely true that if you're playing a blue-red shell, which you would be if you're playing Arcanist, you have options for Ragavan, Dragon Rage's Channeler, and Murktide Regent as the 3 premier threats for that archetype. And Dreadhorde Arcanist is just kind of like a tier below these cards, unfortunately. Dude, Grist is so good. I'm gonna push the Squirrel here. If we draw land, we can Din, but we're still not in great shape. Fatal Push is not great for me either. Not feeling very good. Ending with Arcanist only exiles 0-drops. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah. What do I use to rent cards? I use Mana Traders. Their service is pretty good. They milled over Kroxa. Okay, well, we discard the Moon, push the Kroxa, and probably don't die to it. Yeah, 8 creatures for Grist. Yeah, Grist is great. Really cool card. Pretty well designed too, I think. So if I draw HCA, I can go... I get to kill their board. I guess they get to escape the Kroxa again. This lets me activate Den of the Bugbear, I guess, which is not enough. Probably going to take an L here. This list looks pretty cool. I'd like to see Junsack be innovated on. I think the Ravenous Scroll has been super impressive in my testing and basically every shell I put it in. I do think that Kroxa plus Urza Saga is a pretty significant strain on the mana, but not necessarily impossible to overcome if you play the Rin and 6s, which they are playing to give you more land drops. think Grist is better than Lily and Boomerjund. I mean, they're just kind of good against different things, but I think that, yes, I think that I would play more Lilianas than Grists, but it's not necessarily like the 4th Liliana before the 1st Grist. I think that like 3 Lilianas, 2 Grist is fine, 4-2 is fine, 4-3 is fine maybe if you end up like becoming like really high on one of the cards. There's just a lot of good ways to do it, and like no clearly mandatory way to build a deck. No Giganta with Lily. Is that really the only card in Boomerjund that makes you not get Giganta? No, Seasoned Pyromancer. That's my opinion on Kaito and Giganta Shadow. I like it a lot in the sideboard. I think Kaito is great against blue-white control and is like fine in other matchups, but like probably not something you want to be main decking. Tourach is a 3-2 now. I think there's a Mardu Stoneforge deck just out there, literally just asking. I think the best Stoneblade variant is the Boros one I've been playing. I think that it's possible you could splash black in that deck, but I think that what you're describing as like a more like pure Mardu experience is probably not out there now. Okay, so if I draw HCA, I get to kill the tokens, edict the Kroxa, and then lose to the escape still, I guess. Okay, they probably should have done this before tax. Oh, they're killing Liliana. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. We yield. This 2-0 into 2-2? No, sorry. It's like first loss was in round 2. Alright, let's see if we can finish this league with a 3-2. Be right back. It's not like a solved list. Interesting. Well, I could take a Ragavan, then I could play Tourach as a protection from their hand blocker. I could also just take a hit from Ragavan, which I think I'm going to do with this hand. I think I could take a hit. Thoughts on Goblins? I think Goblins is great. I think Goblins is it's something I've been pretty consistently impressed by. I think I expect to continue to be impressed by it too. Land, not great. We can just put Luris in our hand. Well, that's pretty bad. Castle Ardenvale counterspell is kind of ambitious. Probably fine too. Yeah, probably not that big a deal. What's Goblins' bad matchups? Well, that's one of the nice things about Goblins is you don't have like any truly horrible matchups because main deck Verdict in your Ragavan deck. People like really often just try to play legacy decks in Modern. And it's March Prismatic Ending, mystery card. Yeah, your Rhinos is your worst matchup. Dude, they hit Days Undoing. Brutal. But we have seen that their deck seems to be somewhat soft to Tourach. Goblin's good versus Amulet. I would say the Amulet is favored, but again, what's nice about Goblins is you just have this 3 mana 2-card combo that like against Amulet, like you can just kill them on turn 3, and they're not very good at interacting with your combo. And so I would say Amulet is favored. I would definitely say the Amulet is favored, but it also like not by like so much. It's not a like really drastic horrible matchup, which is again what's great about Goblins is that I think Mill and Rhinos are probably your worst 2 matchups as Goblins. But like other matchups that like are historically not that good for Goblins being like a slow grindy deck are not so bad. Okay, they found a Jace, which I guess can bounce my Tourach. I just draw a land. I'm going to put my opponent to 3 here and just hope to bolt them. People don't play creatures with sweepers enough. It's really easy to play on the sweepers. Yeah, I kind of thought they were playing Stone. I mean, I still think they're playing Stoneblade actually because they're playing Castle Ardenvale. I could be wrong, but I think if you're playing Ragavan and Stoneforge Mystic, a main deck Supreme Verdict is kind of goofy. It is also true. Like I think people kind of like it does feel like somewhat common to me to like see people build decks to think that Modern is just like creatures slamming into each other. At least that's. It feels to me that's how they build their decks sometimes. But there are tons of decks that Supreme Verdict is bad against. And they're like a huge amount of decks. Supreme Verdict is just like so bad. And okay, they're plussing, which means they found an answer to the Tourach, I guess. Yeah, there's just a huge amount of decks that like Verdict does nothing against, and I don't really feel like it's a card that you're super incentivized to play, I say as I lose to it here. Okay, they must have an answer for this. Or did they put it on top or bottom with Jace? My opponent has typed the word O into chat. Oh, hello Spikelings, I see. I can't tell if they put this on top or bottom. They must have another March, right? We've got Solitude, okay. Oh, was I supposed to push so I could escape Kroxa? I think probably not. It's kind of close. Played my Goblins with 4 Ignobles. I've played Goblins with 4 Ignobles many times post MH2. In fact, I think that Ignoble Hierarch is a big trap where it is terrible against Ragavan when you go turn 1 Ignoble and they go turn 1 Ragavan, especially if you're on the draw. And the biggest issue I have with Ignoble Hierarch is that splashing a 1-mana card is awkward. It's doable, especially now that you have the extra unclaimed territory effect. But you know, it is awkward to splash a 1-mana green card. You're fetch shocking on turn 1 a lot more often. And there's one more thing. Oh, Goblins is a deck that's really inherently good against removal spells. Like, you don't actually have many cards in your deck that are bad against removal. The only one is like conspicuous in the red-black version is Conspicuous Snoop. But even Snoop, if you're playing around removal spells, you can get value out of the card before it dies sometimes. And Ignoble Hierarch is a card that's super vulnerable to removal. So all of a sudden you have a deck that's all cards that are good against removal, all have ETB value, but Hierarch is a really fragile card. So that is my evaluation of Ignoble Hierarch in Goblins. Thank you for your time. Okay. Lightning Bolt. I mean, I have a hard time imagining that my Den of the Bugbear is going to connect here, so let's see if they don't have another counter spell. They do have the treasure token if they do. Wait, why are they fetching? Fetch for planes? Oh wait, there's Narset in play. I don't know, this is kind of fine though, because if they kill the Seasoned Pyromancer, I get 1/1 tokens. Yeah, they got the Narset though. I mean, I don't mind. I think I'm still casting the Seasoned Pyromancer here. Yeah, I've seen Tourach in humans a little bit. I think it's fine. A vanilla 2/2. I mean, it comes back. I mean, there's just zero chance that the Den of the Bugbear is good there, right? Like, it's just not good on board because they just block the Den, take 1. Seismic with the 12 months. Appreciate you. 1 year of joy. Yeah, I especially with the new concealed courtyard, it actually might be. It actually might be like somewhat reasonable to play like more Tourachs. Okay, I mean they are technically dead to Den if they have nothing this turn because now they're at 1 instead of 2, and I'll concede when they inevitably have anything for this. They're at 1. They weren't at 1 when I made the decision to cast the Seasoned Pyromancer. They were at 2, and then they cracked their fetch land for no reason. Oh my gosh. Steal the Goblin token. They have treasures now to make a 1/1. Oh, that's true. Yeah. That may have been better than this line. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, am I supposed to cast Liliana there? I guess I was supposed to cast Liliana there. Well, we're dead. Maybe get some more information with this Thoughtseize, though. They have... I guess they shuffled their verdicts back in. Yeah, but Ragavan's their only creature, which is kind of fun to play with a bunch of verdicts. Yes, yeah, Snapcaster is info, that is true, yeah. So we're going to play the Tourach, the Needle, the Boil. Not going to play any of these Fatal Pushes. Not going to play these Terminates. Kolaghan's Command is probably okay. HEA is not that good. I guess I'll just play one push. Been playing Tourach as a recruiter targeting humans for a while, and 2 more on the board for blue-white matchup. Play Scion Clearing over Horizon Canopy to accommodate. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. I like it. Was Lightning Bolt top stone out, or is just about the ult? I mean, like, I just think that there's almost no chance I'm ever, like if they're gonna keep pressing, like, the chances of me drawing a Lightning Bolt and them not having a counter spell are just not high enough for me to want to continue to play the game. So the Rest in Pieces just hit my Kroxas, right? And my flashback Seasoned Pyromancers. Chalice is also kind of a problem. I think I should take one of these 2 cards. I also really need to draw land. So do they, though. I could also take Ending. I could take Ending and just, like, play through Rest in Peace Chalice. Taking Ending is really bad if I don't immediately draw a Black Source for Voidwalker, though. I'll take the Rest in Peace. How was Marty the past weekend? It was fine. Like, again, I'm starting to, like, kind of understand again something I forgot, is that these Mardu decks, they, like, hold on. They might not want to Chalice in one because of the... Yeah, I can leave it with the Chalice. Let me take the Nurse, I think. The problem with, like, the Shadow versions, like Mardu that play Street Wraith instead of DRC Bobble, is that you're just going to lose a lot more games to Mana Screw, Mana Flood, because you're playing Street Wraith, and, like, I kept several hands that were either, like, 1 land, 2 Street Wraiths, or 1 land Street Wraith, that I felt like I just kind of had to keep, and I just didn't get there. I either, like, flooded out really bad or got Mana Screwed because I kept these hands. And I do think that, like, when you play a deck like Mardu Shadow, you are very much signing up to keep a hand like that. And I'm not saying that it's, like, definitely right, definitely wrong, but I am saying I lost some games to it, so just something to think about. I think it's good to just not plus the Liliana here. Oh, we know that they've got Ragavan in their hand as, like, a pretty easy discard. I'm going to Ending my Voidwalker, which is fine, and I'm going to boil them out of existence. I thought I was going to boil them out of existence. I guess now I'm going to do that on their upkeep. Why wouldn't they Prismatic Ending? No, I should main phase it so they can't counterspell. Their hand is currently Ragavan, Ending. They don't have this Daze and doing any card, but they can't counterspell. They could Dovin's Veto. They could. They can't spell Pierce because they got the Chalice. Let's do, like, Veto or Force of Negation, I guess. All right, boil time. The best time of the day. Oh, that's actually... I mean, nobody's going to think this is funny, but me and my friends call taking a bath a boil, but it's just because one of our friends likes to, like, get the bathtub as hot as humanly possible. The way he describes it, he likes to get the bathtub as hot as humanly possible, and then he likes to just barely be able to get in without, like, being, like, you know, human reflexes making him get out, and then he likes to just lay in the heat until he feels like he's about to suffocate, and then he gets out, like, right before he feels like he can't get out anymore. And we call that a boil. And it's I don't know, it sounds pretty unpleasant. It sounds, yes, I guess like a hot tub. It sounds pretty unpleasant. I think he's easily, like, exaggerating a little bit, but knowing him, it's only a little bit. Okay, Blue-Black Urza. Deadly Dispute is interesting. So your second Chromatic Star, Spellbomb, Sword to Dispute. I kind of like it. Deadly Dispute is, like, really high on my list of cards to play more with. I just haven't played with the card as much as I would have really liked to. and I like to see it here. I like to see you brewing with it because it's really something that I think is a tad underexplored. Cast the Kroxa here. This list also looks very good to me. I think I like what I'm seeing. I like seeing the portables in the main deck. I think that these are really important. I like to see no Urza Saga and Wurza. I think that that's pretty good. I like the counter spells a lot too. I think the counter spells make a lot of sense to me here when you're playing more at instant speed with Deadly Dispute. Yes, as far as the main deck goes, I'm just actually kind of loving it. I think I'm gonna. Well, I kind of want them to play the Narset here. Yeah, let's just like get them to play Narset, then we can bolt it, then we can Tourach. Take a look at the sideboard. I might want the third Teferi in the sideboard. I might not. It seems like not mandatory one way or the other, I guess. Yeah, I don't know that you need 2 Void Mirrors. Maybe just one as a tutor target is good. Oh, you should have a Chalice of the Void. Yeah, you need a Chalice of the Void in the sideboard so that you can whir for Chalice in response to a Cascade spell. I found that to be really important. When I was playing Wurza recently, I would definitely have like split a Void Mirror with a Chalice. I think that's like a pretty easy call. Blossoming Calm is only good if you expect a lot of burn, which I think is maybe fine. I'm trying to think if there's any. You might want to play a Torpor Orb on the sideboard too. Like turning off your Urza ETB is not that big a deal. A Torpor Orb over a Dress Down makes a lot of sense to me as a war target. You're also like a little light on answers for Murktide region. I think I'd like to see ideally like one more. Oh, dude, that's devastating. Tourach is best draw here probably though. They discard Narset Solitude. The last card is just a Solitude. Don't think I'm going to Needle anything this turn. Orb's just on the Thopter Sword combo. Oh, I didn't really... I mean, that might still be fine to, like, have the Orb in the sideboard, though. Like Orb is, like, I imagine still, like, very good against Titan, good against, like, some tribal decks. Yeah, that was not something that was on my radar, so, that's something I guess I recommend evaluating a little bit, but, you can just sack your Orb. You just sack your Orb to your, Thopter Foundry, right? Yeah, you just sack it. It's fine. Yeah, that's gonna be my recommendation. But this looks really good. Actually, like, I'm pretty interested to see how Deadly Dispute performs. Wish you the best of luck. I think it's possible you want a Time Sieve. Time Sieve is kind of cool because it lets you kill your opponent the turn you Thopter Sword combo, which is sometimes an issue. Not super often an issue, though. Okay, so I'm going to make my opponent discard a card and then deal them to main phase 1, so that if they're trying to get rid of my Ragavan with their Solitude, they can't. This also grows the Tourach, and then I can fear the Ragavan with the Shizo to get through the Sanctifier. So discard the Solitude, which is of course the card we knew about here. And we get to go dash Ragavan, fear Ragavan, attack 4/7. Candle, thank you for the 3 months, appreciate you. Light to the party, what do I think of Gigantha and Death Shadow? I mean, it's obviously like 100% worth playing if all it costs you is the 15th sideboard slot, which it will if you decide not to play Street Wraith and not to play Murktide Regent. And if you want to play Street Wraith or Murktide Regent, you think that's the best build of Shadow, then losing Gigantha is not going to be a big deal. And I think that these are all like very lukewarm takes. Yeah, time sieve. Yeah, it's also true, like, when you have the Thopter Sword combo going, and you have Whir, but you don't have Urza, like, you can just Whir for the Time Sieve to win the game on the spot, which is, oh, it's funny. Which is pretty important, I think. Okay, 7-3 on the day with red-black. I like this deck a lot. It feels very solid. Obviously, like, still a fair mid-range deck, capable of, just losing some grinding games, losing to some games going over the top, but it feels super reasonable. Super solid so far. And, like, a bit easier to build, too, than, like, the Jund variants that we're going to work on some more later this week. Hey, Itachi. Oh, that was you? What was, is your username on...